Today we have with us Günther Oestmann. Welcome. And he will be presenting a bit about a work of someone he knew, Peter Schiller, who is no longer an art historian, who worked in a lot of topics regarding the history of astrology, and who's no longer with us. Günther, please, I'll let you follow.
Thank you very much for the kind invitation. I'm going to tell some biographical details on Peter Franz Schiller, who died in Krefeld on January 23rd, 2013, after 2 years of a serious illness. Schiller was particularly interested in the history of astronomy and especially astrology. He was born in Düsseldorf in 1947 and grew up in Krefeld. Schiller was musically and artistically talented, and the law studies he immediately took up at the Free University of Berlin seems to have been more of an embarrassment solution. After 3 semesters, he moved to Freiburg, where he initially attended unsystematic lectures in art and music history, and he also took drawing lessons. It turned out that his real vocation was art history, and he, from 1976, he studied this subject together with archaeology and philosophy as minor subjects. In 1989, Schiller enrolled at the Gesamthochschule Siegen for the subject of architecture, but without graduating. His scientific œuvre is very narrow. Apart from a brief stint as a research assistant at the University of Freiburg, he never had a job and worked for a time as a translator of art books and non-fiction books. Yet the originality and quality of his scientific work could have paved the way for a brilliant career. His doctoral thesis on the relationship between architecture and astronomy in the work of Andrea Palladio, finished in 1985, was already highly original and astute, and Schiller was able to add a whole new facet to the seemingly endlessly written off field of Palladio's architecture. I have the version here. This is the copied version, which is in some university libraries. The work, Schiller's PhD work, was supervised by Erich Forssmann and rated summa cum laude. Unfortunately, it remained unprinted. His lecture on the iconography of the ceiling painting of the Sala di Galatea in the Farnesina in Rome, completed in 1511, which was presented at the conference The Occult Sciences in the Renaissance in Wolfenbüttel in 1988, was also very thorough and methodically sound. Already in 1880, the classical philologist and art historian Richard Förster had suggested that the frescoes of Baldassare Peruzzi might have astrological significance. The art historians Abi Warburg and Fritz Sachsel finally came to the conclusion that the birth chart of the banker Agostino Chigi is depicted here. Schiller presented a thorough and precise analysis of the astronomical-astrological parameters and was able to show that the frescoes indeed represent the horoscope scheme and cannot be explained by ancient texts. In the arrangement of the constellations on the ceiling, the artist was guided by the practice of casting horoscopes with an astrolabe and celestial globe. Unfortunately, the publication of the conference proceedings dragged on for 3 years, and in the meantime, an essay by Christian Lippincott appeared in the Journal of the Warburg and Courtauld Institutes, in which she arrived at the same conclusions. As a result, Schiller's contribution was not noticed, and only Lippincott's essay is ever quoted when it comes to the astrological significance of the Farnesina paintings. Between 1981 and 1989, Schiller visited the Centro Tedesco di Studi Veneziani several times and spent almost 3 years researching in Venice. One fruit of his work in Italy was the reconstruction of the original planting of the botanical garden in Padua, opened in 1545, according to astrological considerations. After completing his doctorate, he worked in computer programming with the intention of providing historians with suitable tools for interpreting celestial, so-called celestial sources, himmelskundliche Quellen in German. And for 1987, the publication of the astrological house tables for the historian was initially planned, but remained unfinished. Towards the end of the 90s, of last century, Schiller had completed an excellent computer program for the recalculation of historical horoscopes, entitled Geschichte der Himmelskunde. Well, or to speak, well, translate literally, history of astronomy, so-called, which you can see here. This is the booklet with an inserted CD-ROM. This program was published with a highly practical introduction, but unfortunately it was not possible to win renowned scientific publishers for the publication. The subject matter seemed too specific and the potential clientele so too small. So Schiller founded the Clio Verlag in 1998 to market it by himself. Unfortunately, the very useful program did not find the distribution it deserved. It is only available in Rostock University Library, the German National Library in Basel, and in the Library of the Oriental Seminar in Zurich. The copy has also been presented by me to the Library of Technical University Berlin. Peter Schiller was of a rather reserved nature and hardly cultivated any professional contacts, but he always proved to be very helpful and very cooperative. During the preparatory research work for my habilitation thesis on Heinrich Rantzau, he willingly made the then unpublished program available to me, and it passed the acid test, so to speak. We have had numerous fruitful discussions, and I benefited greatly from his profound knowledge.
Thank you. And it's very important for us to know the extent of the work of these scholars, because sometimes when we are researching, we only know one article or one book, and here we have the possibility to know all the work that they have written in research. So this is very important.
Yes, and not only his contributions in interpretation in art history, also the software. It's still a tool that we need today.
Yeah,
it would be.
But we have a basic technical problem. I already told you this program is of the late 90s, and it has been. I think it's also for Windows, but it is a basically DOS program.
Yeah.
And let's see, let's look it up. Yeah, it's very nice. It's almost it is from the Stone Age of the computer. It is running from MS-DOS 3 upwards.
Okay.
And it needs 520 kilobytes.
Wow.
Storage.
Well,
maybe,
but it can be updated. I don't know.
It can be updated. Maybe someone who is listening.
Yeah, I've already told it to Benno van Daan and David Just, and the interesting thing is that Schiller has strictly programmed historical parameters, and this is the big advantage of this program.
Very,
because you have traditional ephemerides, that is Alphonsine tables,
Mhm.
Protenic tables, Rudolphine tables, also Copernicus's parameters he used himself in De Revolutionibus.
Mhm.
And you have a set of house tables, which are historically important. That is,
Yeah.
of course, equal houses. Porphyrius, Alchabitius, Campanus, Regiomontan, and Placidus.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
That is no modern stuff, only historical things.
Yeah.
There are also some very interesting, there's an interesting help menu for identifying incomplete horoscopes. That is, if you have some incomplete data, you can search for appropriate positions, which may come close to an incomplete set of figures you have in the horoscope and so on. And this is all very well described, and it is mainly for the use of an historian that is a non-specialist in astronomy.
Yeah.
Well, it was quite impressive. He already explained everything to me, and he was taught himself programming.
Yeah, amazing.
And I must admit, this is a book with 7 seals for me.
Yeah, it would be very good if someone could update the program, because this is a wonderful tool for historians.
Yes.
Yeah, the problem is that the program does not run on modern computers.
Yeah,
because they are too fast.
Yeah,
maybe there are ways of
probably
you need an old-fashioned notebook, preferably from the 90s. I have one here available, and a Pentium Siemens notebook, and I think the storage, the hard disk has, I think it has 800 megabytes, which was
very much
good.
Huge apparatus at this time.
Yes, I'm sure that when you bought it, it was like the top of the top.
Yes, and it was. I think it was really, really expensive at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but perhaps something can be done. I'm not expert on programming.
Yeah,
but it would be interesting to recover this tool, because it would be indeed a wonderful tool and a must-needed tool for serious historical research on this kind of data.
Let me say something. If someone who is listening to this podcast knows how to do it, please contact us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Certainly, it would be wonderful.
Okay, we will leave the list of his publications in the description.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thank you very much.
And some biographical data.
I will send the obituary, the picture, and also the bibliography to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome
for this.